Fashion Island is an outdoor shopping mall in Newport Beach, California that opened in 1967. Were you a kid, teenager, adult, parent, or grandparent living in Southern California and would frequent those malls in your area? Were you a mall rat like me where you spent your formative years people watching, socializing, or shopping at those iconic malls? Let's take a stroll down memory lane and relive those moments of yesteryears. So let's take a deep dive into the history of that mall in your neighborhood. Please leave a comment or a memory of this mall and stay tuned until the end. I want to see if you were paying attention to my video. Thanks. In 1960, renowned architect William Pereira was commissioned to devise a master plan for the development of Orange County's Irvine Ranch. This 88,000-acre property was located 47 miles southeast of downtown LA in the coastal community of Newport Beach. A commercial district known as Newport Center was to serve as the nucleus of a projected 900,000 square foot retail complex. This mall occupied an 87-acre section of Irvine Ranch. Ground was broken for a single-level open-air shopping hub on August 20th, 1965. Fashion Island was dedicated with a preview opening, Flight to Fashion Island Charity Ball, which was held on September 9th, 1967. A formal grand opening ceremony on September 11th, 1967, some 18,000 locals, more than a quarter of the town, showed up for the opening extravaganza on what was originally called the Newport Town Center. The prospective facility would eventually be renamed Fashion Island. Anchoring Fashion Island was a three-level, 225,000 square foot J.W. Robinson's. The 300 bells installed on the south side of Robinson's cascaded down an entire wall of the building. Other anchors included a three-level 186,000 square foot JCPenney, a two-level 80,000 square foot Buffum's, and a three-level 188,000 square foot The Broadway. Among the mall's 56 stores and services were Apropos, The Look, Carl's Toys, Jolly Roger Restaurant, Bob Burns, Velvet Turtle, and Silverwoods for Men. The outparcel Edwards Newport Cinema, a 1,300-seat single-screen venue, showed its first feature on February 11, 1969. It was expanded in 1974, 1989, and 1996. The Butterfly Court made its debut in 1973. Large floating white butterfly sculptures attracted visitors to what is now known as the Neiman Marcus Bloomingdale's Courtyard. A two-level, 80,000 square foot Bullock's Wilshire opened on August 1, 1977 as part of the new Southwest Wing. Neiman Marcus built a two-level, 118,000 square foot store that was dedicated on March 3, 1978. Although the outdoor mall had many high-end fashion brands and catered to the wealthy and upper-middle class, by the early 1980s, studies were showing that South Coast Plaza had gained a competitive edge over Fashion Island. In April of 1982, JCPenney closed. The Irvine Company announced a 5-year, $115 million Renaissance makeover in April of 1984. The renovation, conceptualized by John Jarday, was completed in 3 phases. The first involved the conversion of the empty JCPenney into a 3-level, fully enclosed atrium court. On level 1 was the Irvine Ranch Farmers Market. These welcomed their first customers in May of 1985. Levels 2 and 3 of the atrium court house trendy boutiques such as Ferrucci de Varese and Paul Mayer's Serena d'Italia. If I butchered those names, I am truly sorry. I promise I will not shop there. 28 stores opened during the official dedication, which began on November 7, 1985. 20 more atrium court stores were added by the spring of 1986. By this time, the second phase of the Renaissance renovation was underway. This added facades to some of the existing stores and replaced mallway landscaping. Phase 3 was a major reworking of the southwest section of the complex. It was reconstructed utilizing a Mediterranean motif. Over 70,000 square feet and 60 stores were added, including the Island Terrace, a second food court, and a 4-level parking structure. The Edwards Island Cinema 7 showed its first features on October 6, 1989, with the Phase 3 Renaissance project officially dedicated on October 23, 1989. The area was transformed into a pedestrian-scaled village, winding cobblestone paths, ivy-covered arbors, sidewalk cafes, and courtyards with shaded paseos and lush landscaping. On February 1, 1990, the Bullocks Wilshire closed. It reopened as a rebranded I-Magnin. In 1991, Buffum's closed, and the building was subdivided into smaller stores. In 1992, to accommodate several uses, including a Circuit City store, other additions that same year included the Cheesecake Factory, adjacent to I-Magnin, a Bookstar bookstore near the property's cinema, and a new multi-tenant restaurant building with a Hard Rock Cafe on the property's perimeter. On January 31st, 1993, J.W. Robinson's closed. It reopened as Robinson's May. In January of 1995, I-Magnin closed. In June of 1995, it morphed into Bullock's Women's Store. This eventually became the mall's first Macy's location. In the fall of 1996, the Broadway closed. It would reopen as Bloomingdale's. The entire third floor of the Atrium Court building was converted into a separate Bloomingdale's home store in 1997. Fashion Island was renovated once more in 2003, strengthening the property's Mediterranean design and adding refreshed landscaping, architectural elements, and a new carousel. The Hard Rock Cafe closed in 2005 and was replaced by the Blue Coral, a short-lived seafood concept from Fleming's and Roy's parent, OSI International. Neiman Marcus had a third level added in 2005, increasing its area to 153,000 square feet. In September of 2006, Bullock's Women's Store closed. In 2006, Robinson's May closed. It reopened on September 9th as Macy's. The Fashion Island Mall now featured nearly 200 stores, entertainment venues, and restaurants. It encompassed 1.3 million leasable square feet and featured 4 parking decks. A fourth expansion got underway in 2007. A 2-level, 80,000 square foot structure was built adjacent to the northeast side of the Atrium Court. Its first tenant, a 1-level, 44,000 square foot Dick's Sporting Goods, was dedicated on July 3, 2009. Plans for a 23,000 square foot flagship store for the Dean and DeLuca gourmet grocer chain was abandoned in late 2009. However, another high-end food retailer, Whole Foods Market, assumed the space and opened for business on September 19, 2012. The old Bullock's Wilshire structure at the southwest corner of the complex was demolished. On April 16, 2010, it was replaced by a three-level, 138,000 square foot Nordstrom. The $100 million facelift it underwent in 2010, the buildings and outdoor spaces were utterly transformed with new architecture, landscaping, fountains, and amenities. New stores and restaurants appeared, including Whole Foods Market, Jonathan Adler, and more recently, Fig and Olive, and Casina Enoteca. The Great Recession led to several changes at Fashion Island. The 2009 bankruptcy and subsequent liquidation of Circuit City led to the addition of a large-scale Forever 21 store in 2010. Edwards Island Cinema 7 was temporarily shuttered in January 2011. The in-mall theater was renovated into a state-of-the-art stadium seating venue, which included drink and dine-in service. The complex reopened as the Edwards Island Cinemas on December 16, 2011. The Island Cinema closed in 2017 and was released by an upscale cinema operator, The Lot, which renovated the theater and reopened it the following year. In 2019, Forever 21 closed its Fashion Island store as part of the bankruptcy filing. The building sat vacant until 2022 when it was demolished to make room for a large-scale RH Gallery store slated to open in 2024. Roy's closed in 2019 and Fig and Olive closed in 2022. Joey, a Canadian restaurant group, opened in the former Roy's space in late 2022. As you can see by now, I visited Fashion Island to see the mall for myself. This was my first time back since 2003. I've been going there since the mid-1990s and would dine there at the local restaurants, including Cheesecake Factory, as well as my favorite, the Hard Rock Cafe, Newport Beach. The mall wasn't that busy when I decided to go. Of course, it was around lunch on a Thursday, so it would have been busier on a weekend. I couldn't help but notice that a lot of the mall shoppers brought their dogs. It's pretty strange to see dogs on a leash walking through the store aisles at Macy's. This was actually the first time I walked into the atrium court. I was quite impressed by the fact that it seemed like a mall within a mall when I stepped into this building. The atrium contained close to over 25 stores when it first opened, but it seemed like many of them were closed, or maybe they were just spread out in the building. I liked the two-story Barnes & Noble, but what stood out in my mind was the Bloomingdale's Home Center that encompassed the entire third level. The building reminded me of one massive department store from the early 1900s when old-school department stores took up entire store blocks and contained many levels. I think I spent the most time at this mall in the atrium court, just checking out the view and admiring the decor. You know what? It kind of reminded me of an Embassy Suites hotel. What do you think? The food court on the first level is like the one at Burbank Town Center. The thing for me is that I get the feeling that everybody is watching you from above, staring down at you. The koi pond, one of the last remaining original landscape features, is situated in front of the Restoration Hardware, where it continues to delight youngsters in need of a shopping break. The Serene Oasis debuted in 1969 with 80 koi, populating 20,000 gallons of water. Today, the 3-level open-air mall has over 180 shops, including Lincoln, Louis Vuitton, Apple, and Tesla. The mall is anchored by Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Neiman Marcus, and Nordstrom. Fashion Island has expanded from its original 20 acres to 75, from 2 restaurants to 40, and from 52 shops to over 180. Congratulations, you made it this far into the video.
When I find you.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
So let's see how close you were paying attention to my video. So how many anchor stores closed in this mall? So if your answer is 9, give yourself a hand. You were paying attention. Thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks.